Welcome back to Check the Pulse. Guys, go Leafs, go! That's what I'm going to say. Go Leafs, go! Round 2, game 1, we won. I got this jacket down there yesterday. I got completely rinsed for it because it was raining and I needed a jacket. Anyways, go Leafs, go. We're back. We're ready to rock. I'm grateful and honored to have my good friend, Mr. Vince Caputo, on the podcast. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Juve. Not even a Juve fan. He's the only guy I'll chant that for.
Right there.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here. And your podcast is super cool. So again, I'm super honored to be in this space with you. Yeah.
And guys, I fucking love Vince, okay? So I'm just so happy for this podcast right now. But I want everyone to understand why I love you so much. So I want you to take over a little bit, dive into your journey, your story, what makes you you. He is currently a breathwork facilitator, but we'll talk about, kind of how he got to that point. You have a pretty cool story, so I do want to dive into it. The floor is yours.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Again, super honored to be here. A little bit about myself. My name is Vincenzo Caputo. I run a company called LYJ5D. Stands for Live Your Journey 5D. And I'll explain a little bit more later about what the 5D stands for. I'm a breathwork coach and facilitator. I've been doing that for approximately 6 years now. And my journey began back when I was working at the TTC as a streetcar operator. I was 300 pounds at the time.
That's crazy.
Had no idea where I was going in life, just going through the motions, going to work every day, miserable guy. And I needed help, and I didn't know how much help I actually needed. So I started diving into podcasts. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast very regularly, as we all do. And at the time, Joe Rogan was talking about these things called deprivation tanks. If you're unaware of what that is, it's a float tank. Essentially, you sit in this big box. It's a bathtub full of Epsom salts, and you float. You just lie there for about half an hour to an hour, and you just float. And you go into like a very, very deep relaxation meditation. So I found this studio in Vaughan called the Elemental Wellness Studio, and it's behind Vaughan Mills. It doesn't exist anymore. And they had these deprivation tanks. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to go try this out. Yeah. So I signed up for it, did my first experience in the deprivation tank, and I didn't really feel anything. And I was told that it was something you had to keep coming back to, like dive deeper each time. And I did. And every week I was going to these float tanks where I would float in a bathtub for an hour at a time. But I would get some deep insights. Like, it was very, very relaxing. And if no one's ever tried it, like, I would highly recommend it. It's a really, really cool experience, but you have to do it a couple times. Yeah. So, as I'm doing these deprivation tanks on a weekly basis, one of the staff members comes up to me after one of my sessions and he's like, hey, have you ever tried a breathwork class before? And I've had zero understanding of what breathwork class was. I'm like, you're going to teach me to breathe in a class? Like, this is a little ridiculous. But so he explained it to the best of his ability. And that's always been one of the biggest problems with any breathwork facilitator or coach. It's such a hard thing to explain. It's one of those things that you just truly have to go and try. So I'm like, you know what? I'll sign up for it. So I signed up for this Tuesday class, show up. I get to the class, guy's at the front of the class. His name is Giovanni Bartolomeo. He was facilitating these classes once a week at the studio every Tuesday. I go into this first class. I sit down on a yoga mat full of 14 people, and everyone's got a pretty big smile on their face because they've all done this before. I'm the rookie. And I'm looking at this guy at the front of the class, and he's wearing this funky necklace. He's dressed like a hippie. He's got a Buddha doll behind him. There's incense burning. He's blowing smudge, which is Palo Santo or sage. And at the time, I had no idea what any of this was. Yeah. So I'm sitting there waiting for this class to start, and I'm thinking, oh my God, as a practicing Italian Catholic, I'm like, fuck, I'm joining a cult. Like, this is my mom would kill me if she saw me right now. But I'm the type of guy that if I'm signing up for something, I'm going on the roller coaster, I'm not getting off. Like, let's go for the ride. Let's see what this is about. And at the end of it, I'll just leave. Like, we're just breathing. Who cares? So the entire experience is guided to music. By the third song of that very first class, I was gone. And Kristina, when I tell you I was gone, like, I was literally out of my body looking down on myself. Wow. My subconscious mind was in a different realm, and how it happened in that moment, I had no idea. Like, it was absolutely transformational, life-changing. That very first experience broke me open in a way that I've never experienced in my life. That first experience, I got to experience traumas that were stuck within my mind, future potential that I could achieve by creating a new narrative, and all from one class. And from that moment forward, when the class was done, I said, fuck, I got to do this. So every single Tuesday I showed up to that class, and every single Tuesday I was getting new insights. I was releasing stagnant energy, and I was just breathing better. Yeah. I was consciously breathing, which is something we've lost in society. We have been breathing consciously for, thousands upon thousands of years, but we've lost it in 2025 because we don't have the rituals we used to. And that's not to say breathwork is a ritual, which it could be interpreted as a ritual, but we've lost that conscious breathing because we're always go, 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 go. We don't stop and take a breath. We tell our kids, just slow down, take a breath, but we don't do it ourselves. So I started going to these classes every single Tuesday, kept getting these insights. Every time it was a different one, kept releasing energy. Every time I was releasing new energy. And I was learning a lot about myself. Came to a point about maybe 2 to 3 months of me doing these classes consistently where I'm like, you know what? Like, people need to know this. Mm-hmm. People need to learn this. There's 14 people in this class. Why are we not hitting the masses? Yeah. So I reached out to the guy facilitating the class who also owned the studio. And I'm like, hey, man, I want you to teach me. Like, I want to do this for people. And he was a busy guy. I mean, he's still a busy guy. And he kept pushing me off. I would bug him, once a month. I'd be like, hey, like, I'm not doing this for the money. Yeah. I'll fold your towels. Yeah. Come in for an hour. Just teach me the basics so that I can facilitate these classes as well. I fell that much in love with it. Yeah. 2 years after that first class, approximately, he finally created a program where that's what he does now. That's his profession. Is
teaching breathwork.
He teaches people how to facilitate breathwork.
That's cool.
It's called the Elemental Rhythm. Yeah. So about 2 years after he created the program, and I was one of his first students. Wow. I was in his very first class. He actually facilitated the class over Zoom in Costa Rica, but we were in his studio.
That's sick.
And he was still writing notes on like how to create the class better and stuff. He's perfected it now. Like it's a cool thing. And to anyone who wants to become a facilitator, I'd highly recommend Elemental Rhythm. Yeah. What I've done is I've taken what he has taught me, where he's taken a bunch of modalities that he's learned. Right. Created that elemental rhythm style breathwork, and I've tweaked it a bit. I've changed it up a little bit where it's not such a spiritual practice. I find that a lot of breathwork facilitators nowadays will facilitate the class from a very spiritual standpoint, and it is a spiritual it is a very spiritual class, but I try not to push it that way. I like to get people to come into the class and recognize it as a practice, not a spiritual practice. Yeah. And the way I've done that is I've incorporated a lot different music than a normal breathwork class would have. It's less spiritual music. It's a lot more rock, EDM. We play rap at times.
Music we know.
Yeah, music we know. Top 40 stuff. Maybe it's not music because sometimes I get elderly people in my class and they're like, "What the fuck is this guy playing?" But they're all blown away by the end of the class. So yeah, I became a facilitator, and when I tell you the journey was an absolute blessing, but in a way also full of very, very valuable lessons. I've never been a business owner in my life. Yeah. That same guy who told me about the breathwork class and said, "Hey, sign up for it," was the same guy who told me, "Hey, you should open a business." And he positioned it as a way of saying you should open a business for the tax write-offs. Right. So I did. I opened a business. I'm like, oh, cool. I can write off some, computer paper or whatever. Yeah. Not realizing what I signed up for, because when you open a business, it's one of the best things you can do. Yeah. But it is very, very, very difficult in the sense that there is so many opportunities for you to give up. Yeah. There's so many roadblocks that come up where you're like, is it even fucking worth it anymore? Sure. But when you're so passionate about something, you can't stop. Yeah. And, I always preach about how if God were to come down today and stand in front of me and say, you know, you could fill up the Rogers Center every single day for the rest of your life with people to facilitate breathwork for, but you'll never get paid another penny, would you do it? And my answer is always yes. I would absolutely do it, because yes, I get paid to do these classes, these events, these, you know, these speaking events, you know, corporate events, whatever it might be. Yes, there is a monetary exchange involved with that. But the greatest exchange that I get from these experiences is watching people walk out of that class with the biggest smile on their face, because they have transformed their life in 90 minutes. I've had addicts come to my class and walk out no longer wanting to use whatever they were using. I facilitate for AA members. They found their new addiction, right? It's breathwork. You know, people who are struggling with deep emotions, they're allowing themselves to realize that and let go of it, right? And a lot of what we do in breathwork is we're breathing in a systematic way that allows us to open up our inner self and our subconscious mind. And there's many ways to do that. I mean, you could get out in nature and you can do it. You could go for a walk. You can sit in your own meditation. But I find that breath work is the way that it's the most powerful way to like truly crack yourself open. Yeah. Because we're systematically breathing in a way that we're decalcifying our pineal gland a little bit. Yeah. Releasing a little bit of DMT. So you're actually going into a little bit of a high. Yeah. And then we go into a little bit of a guided meditation, which is different based on every class. Yeah. And in that meditation is where you get the most potent part of the entire class, where you get to experience those traumas, recognize them as such, face them head on, you know, face that darkness. It's the only way you're going to beat it. Yeah. And then release that and open yourself up to receiving light and love and gratitude. And by the end of the class, people are in tears, like grown men are crying. You know, you wear an eye mask during the class. Those eye masks are usually soaked. We wash them, so it's okay. And yeah, it's been a wild ride. You know, like for myself personally, breathwork has allowed me to become a better man. It has allowed me to face challenges head on in ways that I was never capable of doing in my younger years. Yeah. So for me, it is absolutely one of the greatest tools I've ever been able to experience in my life. And I wish there's a way that I could literally just pull people into the class, tie them down to that yoga mat, make them go through the class so that they could realize, hey, this guy is not fucking crazy. Like this shit actually works. Yeah. Because everyone who does it, as skeptical as they are, walks out of that class thinking, wow, that was life-changing. So. For sure. Yeah, so that's a little bit of who I am, what I do, and how I've you know, come to this magical place of meeting awesome people like you. Like if it wasn't for breathwork, I would have never even met you, right? That's true. So yeah, the amount of people that I've met in my life over the past, you know, 5 to 7 years, I've gained some really valuable connections. People who lift me up when I'm down, people who look to me to get lifted up when they're down. It's a give and take, right? Yin and yang. And energy is never ending, right?
And so a lot of people I find will probably come into the class very yang, and you have the ability to make them very yin by the time they leave, right? So it's like you get that balance. So wait, how many years now have you been facilitating?
I never look at the actual day. It's something that I should actually look at. I have a certificate somewhere that says I'm certified.
Go based off just like in general, just generically.
It's probably about 6 years that I've been facilitating.
Sick. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah. And I started online because it was the peak of COVID. So we couldn't facilitate. Like, I mean, we could, but no one was really allowed to talk
Depends
about
how
it.
risky you are.
Yeah. So I did it all online. I had a really shitty computer because I've never needed a computer. I was driving a streetcar. Like, what do I need a computer for? Yeah. So I had this shitty computer that the music wasn't playing right. I would play instruments over the microphone, like shakers and stuff. It was horrible. Like looking back now, I was like, oh my God.
People signed up.
People signed up. People signed up. And that's where I got my roots is those online classes. And then eventually I actually started facilitating at that same studio where I took my first class. They brought me on as a facilitator and I was doing weekly classes there. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then was there a bunch of other facilitators, or was just you, the original guy, and that's it?
No, there was the staff.
Yeah.
They all got certified as
cool.
well. A couple of them.
Yeah.
So there was at the time, I think there was probably about 3 or 4 of us that were facilitating on different days.
That's cool.
So yeah, it got flooded pretty quickly. But yeah, it was good.
That's neat. So then within the class, because I know I love the meditation part at the end, because like you literally bring us to like this whole new trance, and then you just boom, you hit like inner child. But so that meditation, because I've only been to like 2, maybe 3 classes with you, does it change like depending on the class, or is it always you kind of keep it in the same style?
Yeah. So, and I might be overstepping myself by speaking into it this way, but the way that class has been taught by Elemental Rhythm is it's called the Ho'oponopono.
Oh yeah.
So that they do that inner child meditation during that meditation portion of the class.
Got it.
What I've done is I've catered that and switched it up based on the class. So if I'm doing a class of, let's say, just men, I'll change it up, make it a little more masculine, right?
Got it.
There's always a component in my class, at least, where we do travel back to that inner child,
right?
Because I think that there's a lot of trauma that we hold on to from children, right? Like, because we don't even realize it as kids. But yeah, I try to cater it per class, right? Like, we're both in the wealth club. If I do a wealth club class, I try to cater it more to like an entrepreneur style breathwork. So I do change it up based on the class, but the way we were taught through the Elemental Rhythm modality was strictly that.
I love what is it again? Ho'oponopono. I love it.
Yeah.
I got shown that years ago, and it like immediately you just close your eyes and you start saying it. I just start crying. You don't even know why. It just comes out, and it's your body feeling.
Yes.
And I think what's also cool about breathwork, which I found very interesting, because like even when I'd met you, remember we were walking to the doors and you were like, oh, like, have you tried breath work? And I said, oh, but I meditate. And you're like, oh, okay. So you're like in the spiritual side of things. I'm like, yeah, but breath work was different. Like meditation, yes, you're breathing. You're kind of focusing on your breath, but not really. You're kind of just like focusing on healing in different ways. But with breath work, what I found was cool is, especially for people that can't sit in silence, it's such a good way to get them to sit in silence, because they don't realize in their breath and what they're doing, they're getting their body to automatically hit a state where they'll be able to do that meditation. I think a lot of people build up this wall of, I can't meditate, so I can't do breath work, or I can't sit in silence. And it's all just stemming from a lot of anxiety, right? And their minds running. So I think that's like, it's such a neat twist to meditation, in my opinion. So yeah, that was, I just like, I remember the first class I did with you was crazy. Do you find it hard? Because there's that saying where it's like, the car detailing guy may not always have the cleanest car.
Yeah.
Do you find, because even with me, it's like, I do marketing. My marketing is half the time not as good as any of my clients' marketing. But it's a service in the sense of like, I'm doing something for someone else's business. You're doing a service in the sense of they're literally healing themselves. So do you find it hard sometimes as a facilitator to also stay on top of your shit when it comes to, like obviously people are coming to you for that healing, but you also have to keep yourself healed. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, so that's an awesome question. So in the beginning stages of this journey, it was very easy because I was going to those classes still, but I've become so busy, and it's not an excuse. Everyone's busy, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I do breath work every day on my own.
Do you have it like routined, like every morning or like every night, like it's scheduled basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll do it right after the gym. I'll go into the sauna, and that's where I practice my breath work. Mm-hmm. And I practice it in a way where I rehearse the songs that I'm going to use in the breathwork class. So if I find a new song, which Apple's amazing, like the intelligence we have nowadays is mind-boggling, because it'll recommend songs out of nowhere that I'm like, holy shit,
you're like this is good.
Like I've never heard this song in my life, but this is amazing. This is a great breathwork song. And again, the style of breathwork songs I use are so out of the ordinary. Like I'm using EDM songs, house songs, techno songs,
rock.
And it's like, rock songs, and it's like, oh yeah, that works for breathwork song. But that's what I'll do for my practices is I'll do my own breath work in the sauna, and 90% of the time it's with the songs that I'm going to use in the class.
Okay.
To see if they work.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Absolutely not. I think as a breathwork facilitator, we still should be showing up to those classes because it is that important.
Yeah.
I can't preach to people, hey, you should be coming to my class when I'm not going to my own.
Right.
But, you know, again, lazy excuse, I guess. The amount of work involved in creating a business is mind-boggling.
For sure.
I never realized.
Well, it's also like you're creating a business. You have 3 kids. Plus, it's like you're doing that on your own. Plus, you work another job. So it's like it's not just like he's sitting at home like, oh, I have to start a business with breathwork. Like you're balancing a lot. Plus a social life. Plus, so like no, like I mean, I feel like sometimes people are hard on themselves because, like you just said, well, it's not an excuse and I should do it. And it's like, no, but you also have to cut yourself some slack. Like you're managing a lot and you still push yourself. You're at the gym every morning, 5 a.m. Like the fact that he was 300 pounds, when I found that out, I was mind blowing. Okay. So like you got to cut yourself some slack too, in the sense where like you're doing the best you can. Everyone can always be better. No one's perfect, but also acknowledge that you deal with a lot on a daily basis.
I appreciate that. And you know, on the drive here, I was actually talking to a buddy of mine. We were talking about retirement and how we don't ever think we want to retire because just to keep that grind going, right? Like it's that once you get into that entrepreneur mentality, it's like that doesn't go away. And I was talking to him about how, you know, not too long ago, I hit a wall. Actually, I might have reached out to you as well, where I was just like, you know what, man, like, is it even worth it? Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, there's so much on my plate. I got no time. You're right. I got 3 kids. Shout out to my ex-wife because she is super, super supportive in like helping with the kids as well and like allowing me to create while she's creating because she owns her own business as well. So like big up to her. But I was talking to my buddy about how, you know, I'm not too long ago, I was just like, want to throw in the towel. Like enough's enough. Like I want to be that guy who continues to facilitate, to help people, but I also don't want to be the guy who has to force people. And it's such a fine line because the marketing component, like the content creation, the website design, the Eventbrites you got to create, it's a lot of fucking work. And I was talking to him about how not too long ago, I thought to myself, you know what, just throw in the towel, fuck this shit. But one of the coaches from the wealth club that we're in reached out and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I just opened up to him a little bit and he's like, hey man, just sit down for 5 minutes and, you know, just write out all your small wins for the week. And I journal every day. Right. So, you know, it was a reminder. Like it wasn't even something that I was taught. It was something that I needed reminded of. And I literally sat there for 10 minutes and I just wrote down like the smallest wins, man. Like I ate healthy this week. I finally seeing a little bit of a 6-pack. I'm, you know, reaching out to one person. Like it's just the tiniest things. And like, you look at it and it's like, oh fuck, man, I've had a pretty good fucking week here. Like this is all right. Right. So, you know, as entrepreneurs, we always want that fucking like massive, you know, 1,000 more followers in a heartbeat, right? Like it's like you need that big win, but if you stack up all those little wins, that big win is there, right? It's a big lesson that I learned recently as well too. So.
I remember when you hit your wall. I wanted to slap you. No chance.
You did. You slapped me with the words.
Yeah,
man.
I was like not letting that happen. It's just like you've changed so many people's lives.
I appreciate it.
You know, like, no, you really do. And the work that you do, you know, it impacts people on a very deep level. It impacts them on a place where sometimes they're scared to go. And they trust you enough to come into that room. Some of them not knowing what to expect, but some knowing that there's a chance they're going to go deep. And they're comfortable enough and safe enough with you to do that. So you throw in the towel and it's like, now think about it. You want to throw in the towel because you're overthinking 100%. And it's like, but now all these people are looking to you to facilitate to them, to help them heal. Like what you're doing is amazing. You know, it's not some scummy job. But I think you brought up a really good point where you're like whatever the coach was told you, you know, write the small wins. I think too often we don't appreciate the small wins. And something I noticed you do from day one is you always express gratitude. So like you'll always kind of like put your hand on your heart and it's almost like you take a breath and you'll express gratitude. You start your classes like that. Any event you're doing is like that. And I think it's so important because we always focus on all the negatives. As human beings, it's so much easier to focus on the negative than the positive. I don't know why. It's just the way the brain functions. But if you focus on the positives, even like I woke up this morning, there's a roof on my head. I have clean water to drink. My kids are healthy. Like those are wins, but we forget because we're so accustomed to them being normal life. And I think even just like tying it into breath work, like going into those classes with you makes you realize how grateful you are for certain things. Or like, I think a big thing too is, and I do this too, like no one's perfect. Nowadays we're privy to so much information, and we have the ability to understand that our upbringings and our childhoods cause trauma to us, which is healing your inner child, as you hear people say. A lot of people still deny that and have dealt with that, but a lot of the time it's because they're either scared or they don't recognize how that affects them in the present. So just taking that leap into breath work or into a meditation or into like even the deprivation tank will really make you realize like, hey, you know what, this happened. I don't have to attach myself to it. I don't have to hold on to it. I can heal from it, let it go, and I'll be a better person.
100%.
Right? And I was talking about this with another guest too. I'm like, so many people are scared to have self-realizations and self-awareness because they're scared of themselves because they know maybe they have dark pasts, right? And they don't want to dive into it. But the only way to move past it is to dive into it,
100%.
right? And I think like, it's just, yeah, it's so important to be in tune spiritually. I went on a tangent, but I just,
Yeah.
you know?
No, it's and you said something there that's like, it really hits home with me is like, it was a lesson that I had to learn at the beginning of this journey as well. And I'm still learning it every single day. I mean, I think I've learned it more than ever, you know, over the past couple months is that when that darkness appears in our life, the only way you're going to get rid of it is to face it head on. You have to fight those demons. Like literally, you got to go face to face with that shit. You got to recognize it. You got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to straighten your shoulders, put your crown back on your head, and fucking grind. Yeah. And it's something that as a society, we just don't want to face, right? Like we just want to brush it aside, but we can't. It's not going to be brushed aside. You might not think about it anymore. It might go away, but it's stuck inside of you. Like you will have that for the rest of your life unless you face it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what breathwork is. It's being able to tap into that dark shit, which is really fucking difficult sometimes, that you've been holding on to, that you don't even realize you're holding on to, because the subconscious mind is such a powerful tool that it hangs on to some of the darkest shit you've ever experienced in your life, but makes you forget it. But it also hangs on to a lot of the beautiful things in your life, your patterns, your growth, you know, and you forget that as well. So it's like you want to tap into that space where you can take those valuable lessons that you've already taken in anyways. But the only way you can do that is by also seeing that dark shit that's inside of there. So what we do is we take you into this class, you breathe for 90 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. Then you think about these things unconsciously. You get rid of the dark ones. You recognize the beautiful ones. And we pump you up with more beautiful ones. And you walk out of the class feeling pretty fucking good.
It's
right?
true. It's
so
true.
It's not something that is like, there is no miracle pill. In anything we do in life. It doesn't matter if you're working out. It doesn't matter if you're building a business. It doesn't matter if you're raising kids. There is zero miracle pills. You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And that is what breathwork is. It's called breath work. It involves work.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to come to one class and you're going to have this aha moment that's going to change your entire life. Although that's what I preach. I preach like I went to that one class and it changed my entire life.
Could happen.
But there's a lot more classes that I went to after that helped build more and more and more and more and release more and more and more and more, right?
Yeah.
So, I think facing those demons head on is the only way that we can like move forward in life in a positive mindset. And we need more positivity in this fucking world anyways, man.
Tell me about it.
It's crazy.
And like I've said this on so many episodes now, like as humans, when you're a baby, you're literally meant to operate out of the vibration of love.
100%.
No one's born miserable. You're literally a sponge when you're a baby. You become miserable or you become like angry or you become a lower vibration based off, you know, how you're raised, things you've been through, but you could always change that because your innate being is love. And that oftentimes I think is forgot, or some people are so far in the rabbit hole, they don't realize how dark of a place that they're in. And that's why it's good to have a supportive community around you, family, friends, you know, partners, whoever it is, that will be like, hey, you know what, you're better than this. Like we can get you out of this rut. But question for you. You don't have to answer this if you're not comfortable, but what is, I'm going to phrase this right. What is one of the best lessons you've learned from not facilitating breath work, doing breath work yourself?
Oh, wow. One of the best lessons I've learned from doing my own breath work.
Yeah.
Again, I do breath work every day. So, I mean, I think it's like, I think I would have to chalk it up to an actual life lesson that I might have received while doing the breath work. That was the aha moment, but it pinpoints back to like a specific situation.
Gotcha.
And I received that most recently. It was maybe 6 to 8 months ago, and that's self-love. The love you have for yourself is the most important thing you can do for yourself. We can love our kids first. We can love our partners first. And I was one of those guys who was always putting other people before myself. As a breathwork facilitator, as an empath, I've always created a space to love other people before me. But that's the worst fucking decision you can make. Because if you're not loving yourself, you're not taking care of your body, your mind, or your soul, and you're not radiating out what you want to see in the world. So the lesson of being able to, and it sounds fucking greedy because, hey man, I love myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's
like,
why I think people steer away from it.
Yeah. But it is the answer. Like, love yourself so that you can create the change that you want to see around you, and it's going to appear. It 100% will appear. You said it already. I have 3 kids. I obviously teach my kids, right? Like, they're young. They're 11, 9, and 7. So you got to teach them life lessons. But a lot of what I teach my kids is how I lead by example. It's how I'm showing up and eating, ground beef and rice instead of Doritos and French fries, right? I'm not going to tell my kids they can't have a bag of chips, but I'm also going to show them that, hey, I'm making a better choice here. Like, you want to be like this?
Yeah.
You got to eat some ground beef and rice, right? So yeah, it's the self-love lesson that I've received over the past couple months has absolutely changed the game. Absolutely changed the game. I feel like I'm a brand new person, and yeah, I'm going hard. It's awesome. I feel great, and you're a big part of that too, man. You
Thank you.
Honestly, you were an awesome coach in the beginning stages of it all, and you helped me, go through some crazy shit in my life over the past couple months that has brought me to this better place, and I think I'm a better facilitator from it too now. So
I love that.
I might have to give you some kick-ups.
Yeah, deep appreciation for that. Honestly, from the day I met you, I'm like, this guy's such a good person with a good heart, and he wants good for everyone else. So when you're down, I'm like, nah, we can't have you down. Like, I'm gonna get you up, And I'm glad you've become stronger from everything you've went through, and you can see it. You're glowing. You look happier. So that's massive. And then even just to touch on the self-love, because you were saying, more people should do it, or some people think of it as wrong. I think it's all the intention and how you go about it. So you can, go through self-love and know you have to give yourself self-love from an egotistical way where now you become obnoxious, or you can go through self-love on a deep soul level of actually nourishing yourself. It's something I still struggle with. Like, it's easier said than done. But when you go the nourishing route and you're actually like, you can feel love radiating in you. It actually tingles. Like, if you go into a meditative state and envision, I envision the color green entering my heart for the green for the heart chakra, and then imagine it exploding into your body, you can literally feel a tingle. That's real self-love. Not like, yeah, I love myself, no one fucking touch me. Like, that's ego shit, So I think that's a big thing too, where people hear it and they get this misconception of, yeah, but I'm not egotistical. Like, I don't want to think of myself that way. It's not about that. It's just like, giving yourself the love and care that you deserve, And I think for girls, I think sometimes it's a bit easier because they'll be like, oh, I'll go to the spa, I'll do a facial, I'll get my nails done. That's the way they see self-love. And then I talk to some guys about it, and they're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to go get a facial. And I'm like, dude, go. My dad does his manicure, pedicure, face, just because he feels clean, he feels good. And I said, if that's not for you, go play sports. Do something that brings out that inner kid that you're like, yeah, So my question to you then is, because you've been on this journey, what are some things you've started doing that really help you increase your self-love for yourself?
Working out, number one, 100%. So I lost a ton of weight. Like I said, I was 300 pounds. lost 120 pounds, you know, but I've always been like a roller coaster, you know, I'll stick with it, then I'll stop. Then I'll stick with it, and I'll stop. And every time that I've ever stuck with it, eating healthy, working out every day, that's when I feel my best.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my self-love is that morning routine of getting in the gym, hitting the sauna, doing the breath work, doing the meditation, doing the journaling, starting my day.
Yeah.
And the days that I don't do that, which over the past 8 months, there's probably been like 5-6 days where I haven't done that.
Yeah.
I feel like shit. Like,
For sure.
like I'm done. Like I'm drained.
Yeah.
I'm more tired not doing the workouts.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So yeah, I think getting in those workouts, and listen, if that, you know, if a workout is a simple stretch for you, so be it. Like, I'm not saying everyone's got to go to the gym. You said it yourself. Play a sport. I play baseball every Sunday, right? Yeah. And to touch on that note, playing sports is actually it's actually something we should do as a society, because we were in tribes back in the day, right?
Yeah.
We've lost that touch. We've lost that sense of community.
Right.
So, you know, being active with that community aspect is it's a beautiful thing to feel, right? It's uplifting. So, one thing you said though that I want to go back on is the ego mind.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a fine line in that as well, because I agree in the sense that, you know, if a guy is jacked and he's walking around with his shirt off, all pumped up at, you know, some club downtown Toronto, and he's like, yeah, look at me, like, okay, bud, you're an ego. Like that's a little egotistical. Yeah. But if you do that exact same thing in front of the mirror by yourself every day, and you give yourself 100%. That fucking pep talk, which is literally what I do. I stand there with my shirt off. I have a 6-pack for the first time in my life. Nobody gets to see it but me. And every morning I look at myself and I'm like, hey, motherfucker, we're doing this shit today. And there's days where the guy in the mirror doesn't want to talk back. There's days where he says a lot. But it's important to play with the ego a little bit. Maybe don't flaunt it out in public so much, but if your ego mind allows you to be driven, then I say, fuck, you tap into the ego every once in a while too, right?
It's like a tool.
100%.
It's literally 100%. Like
Don't
anything in
it.
life. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the meaning you put to it.
100%.
You can use it in a good way. You can use it in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's just understanding when you're tapping into it and when it's being used. But yeah, that's awesome. You sound like the guy that you post on your stories. Wake up, motherfucker. It's Monday.
I love that guy.
I love that guy.
But
good morning, motherfuckers.
But speaking of, because you actually had a really big weight loss journey. If there is anyone that, let's say, was in the position you used to be in, that it maybe is like they feel like they're a bit more overweight and they, you know, they want to go on this journey of losing weight, but maybe they feel it's too expensive or they have to go on all these diets or, you know, on these crazy regimens. Like, do you have any advice for anyone in that?
Absolutely. In that position? Absolutely. We have everything at our fingertips. Where's my cell phone? ChatGPT, YouTube, Google. There is no excuse for anyone to achieve anything in this life beyond working out. It is literally at our fingertips. You have coaches, you have therapists, you have financial advisors. Like, you can download an app and learn anything about anything within minutes. It's crazy the amount of information that we have on our phones. Yep. So there is no excuse. I don't care if you don't have the money to do it. I don't care if you don't have the time to do it. Like, you literally have all the information at your fingertips to create everything for you, because everyone's life is different. You know what I mean? Like, some bigwig lawyer who is working, you know, a 4-hour day, or someone who's driving a streetcar for 13 hours a day, obviously there's a difference of time there, but they can both achieve the exact same thing. There is no doubt in my mind that that is attainable. And I'm kind of walking proof. Like, I lost a shit ton of weight. I'm elevating a business that I never thought was going to be possible, you know, 6 to 7 years ago. You said it yourself, I'm helping people change lives. And to touch on that note, I don't feel like I'm helping people change lives, because when you come into one of my classes, you're changing your life.
For sure.
I'm not doing anything other than playing some music and making sure that you're breathing systematically to the music. And then at the end, I'll give you a little hug. But you're doing the work. Like, these classes involve you doing the work, not me. And the thing about my classes, which again, I like to think it's like a Vince Caputo touch, an LYJ 5D touch, is I'm pretty raw. I'm pretty in your face.
Oh my God, you're like
I
Yelling.
scream. I lose my voice during these
Yeah, I know.
classes. I'm telling people to get their fucking breath going, like let go of that bullshit. Like it's not your typical yogi sit there and
It's true.
it's like let's fucking
It's
go.
not what I
Let's fucking
expected.
go,
I'm like
yeah.
breathwork, meditation. I'm like,
I love it.
this guy all of a sudden
it.
he starts calm,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, good, we're starting. All of a sudden he goes, breathe, 1, 2, and I'm like, oh my god, you know.
Yeah,
But it's
it's
good
hard,
time. It's a
for
good
sure.
time. But because you brought up the name again, and you said we are gonna touch on it. I know why you put 5D, but do you want to explain why you put 5D?
Yeah, so 5D is my interpretation of it is, and listen, there could be 1,000
Big time, yeah.
interpretations of it. I can't speak.
Blah.
I believe that to be God consciousness, spirit, God, universe. It doesn't have to be tied to religion. So when I say God consciousness, it's something that is way above us. And I feel that once we tap into that 5D realm, we're allowed to receive messages.
Right.
So live your journey in that 5th dimension through breathwork, right? So you're coming into a breathwork class, you're breathing, then you're tapping into something that is beyond you. Because when we go in these classes, we're receiving information that we didn't even know fucking existed.
Yeah.
Like stories, but people are walking out of there thinking, oh my God, I forgot that memory was even part of me. Like, I don't remember seeing my dad, you know, playing soccer with me that one time until this very moment. And it's like, well, there's something there, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, it on a scientific level, it's energy, right? I call it God consciousness, that 5th dimension. You know, we're in the 3D realm, tapping into that 5D. It takes work, and I think that breath work is a way of tapping into that for sure. So, so it does tap into that spirituality a little bit, right? And I think, you know, you spoke into it before, how like we're born pure, like we're born in that sense of gratitude, right? Yeah. And the science behind what we do in breathwork class is we're releasing DMT, and DMT is called the spirit molecule because they say that it's the first thing you feel when you're born, and it's the first thing you feel when you pass away. So your first breath and your last breath, you feel a DMT release. Now, there's synthetic ways you can obtain DMT release. There's ayahuasca, which is also another way to have a DMT release, and there's breathwork. Breathwork actually allows you to release a little bit of DMT. So DMT is stored within our pineal gland. Yeah. You can Google this; it's a fact. And we have our pineal gland so calcified that we don't receive that DMT release on a regular basis. When we're in a breathwork class, we're actually a little bit decalcifying your pineal gland, and you have that DMT release. So you actually feel a little bit of a hallucination. I can't say it.
Hallucination.
Thank you. So you can actually see things. You'll see different visuals, even with an eye mask on. You'll hear different noises. I just poked myself with the mic. And a lot of what you're receiving is from that 5D consciousness through that DMT release. Yeah. So that's where the name came from. Live your journey 5D.
I like that, but I like that whole science behind it too. Yeah. I knew that on a basic, but not that deep. That's really cool. But yeah, the 5D also cool because I always, when I tapped into like the spiritual side of life, like I always 2D, 3D, 5D. Like that's how you can live life. And if you live in the 5D, you're living like on a very good level. And like sometimes I'll catch myself, I'll do something, I'll be like, fuck, that's so 2D of me. Like, you know? But yeah, super neat. What's one kind of, and yeah, we would have time for you to kind of like show it or explain it, but if someone wants to incorporate like, let's say a mini breathwork routine in their morning, what's something you can suggest to them?
Yeah, so there's tons of different techniques you can do. It's really all what you're looking to obtain. You know, if you're looking to calm down the nervous system, a simple box breathing, where you're taking an inhale, and preferably I like to practice all my breath work using strictly my nose. Okay. Something I preach in my classes. Yeah. That's just me. I find I get the greatest results. Yeah. A lot of facilitators will facilitate the class saying that you should breathe in through your nose, open your mouth, and let the air fall out. but I facilitate the classes telling people to just breathe however you need to. Like, there isn't a fucking right or wrong way. Just do it. Like, if you're going to be sitting there the whole time thinking, oh shit, I got to breathe with my nose, I got to breathe with my, then just breathe, man. If you're doing it with your mouth, your nose, or a combination of the two, it doesn't matter. But I like to practice using strictly my nose when I can, as long as it's not stuffed up or anything. And a simple box breathing technique is you're breathing in for 4, you'll hold it for 4.
Okay.
Breathe out for 4.
Okay.
Hold it for 4.
Okay.
And you repeat.
So
And
in for 4.
Hold for 4.
Out for 4. Hold it for 4. So you so when you're in, now I'm holding the breath in for 4. I'm out for 4, and then I'm holding that exertion for 4.
That's right.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's right. And I like to set up a timer, or I'll find a nice song that's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I'll do it for the duration of the song, so that you're not thinking how long you should be doing it.
Yeah.
You know that once the song is done, you're done.
Yeah.
More importantly than the way you're breathing, so that in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4,
Yeah.
and repeat. More important than that actual number or the time frame is the consciousness behind it. So taking that inhale, allowing it to go down into the depths of your belly, so that you're really opening up your diaphragm, because the animals that live the longest on this planet are those animals that take those deep belly breaths. Yes. And then something like a dog that dies after like 9 years, very short, shallow breaths, right?
True.
Right into their lungs. So to consciously breathe and bring that breath deep into your belly, that is the life force. That's where we get the most life force, right? Like, you think about it. You're taking a breath in, take the full fucking breath in.
Yeah.
Bring it all the way into the bottom of your feet, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good practice to like calm yourself down.
Okay.
Now, if you want to have like a nice espresso shot, a quick breath of fire. So same thing, do that 5-minute song, do, 10 to 20 seconds of like pumping your belly as fast as you can, really focusing on pushing the air out, like quick exhales.
Literally.
And then 20, 30 seconds of that, take a deep inhale, and then hold it for as long as you can.
Gotcha.
And then you're going to feel like a lot of weird sensations.
Yeah.
They say that we always, breath work, working out, business, whatever it is, we always achieve 80%.
Okay.
We still have another 20% in the tank that we don't even fucking fully realize, right? So when you're on that inhale and you're holding, you're thinking you can't hold anymore, but you can, man. You still got another 20%. Like, really hold that breath, right?
Yeah.
Like you're borderline playing with like almost passing out. No one's passed out in my classes. And then when you release that breath hold, you do it with a buzzing noise through your nose. So, and what that does is it activates the vagus nerve. It allows your body to release all your nerve endings. It's a lot of science involved in the breath work. That's a lot more than just the spiritual part of it. Like, you're actually relaxing your body. Like, you're taking the tension off your muscles. They say that, I forget the exact percentage, but it's a high number. Let's call it 50% of the body fat that we lose is actually through the breath.
Really?
Yeah. So you're losing weight by breathing consciously and systematically. Yeah. It's something I learned in a book called Breathe or Breath. The old book. I forget the guy's name.
Crazy.
Yeah. So,
but see, like, that's what I find so cool about it, is there's so much science behind it. It's not just like someone saying, "Come, we're gonna show you how to breathe properly." It's no. But that's why, even if you think in yoga, why they say you have to focus on your breath, you can go deeper in the stretch. You can hold the stretch for longer. It's the same science, where because you're relaxing your body, you're not as tense, so you're not as stiff. Essentially, it's crazy how
Kristina,
much.
it's everywhere, man.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. Like, you think a competitive bodybuilder, what are they told to do when they're lifting those reps? Breathe. Right? Like, if you're doing an ab crunch where you can't hold your breath, you're tensing your muscles. You need to breathe.
Even if, like, boxing, when they're like
100%.
tennis,
karate,
when they're exerting, everything.
That's a breath, right? Yeah.
It's crazy. We don't think about it like
No,
that,
we
but
don't.
it's breathe. And fun fact, when you said the 80% and 20, because when I think about like training with a trainer, let's say in the gym, I've had points where I probably hit my 80, where I'm like, fuck, like, I can't do this anymore. My legs are gonna give out. And the trainer's like, no, you keep going. In my head, I'm like, you're fucked, no chance. But they push you and you're doing it. And you're like, and you're doing it. And then after, you feel so good.
So good.
You literally, like, the dopamine hit after doing that is insane, 100%. Because you hit a new level. And honestly, my Whoop has been a rude awakening for that,
I love
because
this thing.
it's the best.
I know.
Because it shows you like there's 5 different levels of exertion when you're doing an activity. And there's some activities where I thought, or there's times I go to the gym. I'm like, oh, I feel like I had a good workout. And then I'll look and it's like, oh yeah, you were in level 3 for majority of the workout. I'm like, fuck, but maybe I was just tired then. So next time I'm like, okay, we got to hit 4. We got to hit 5, you know? So that's why I also think it's so important for people. This is off topic, but for people to have some sort of like monitor when they're doing these things so they could see and actually feel, because a lot of the time it also monitors your sleep, which is cool because you could wake up feeling tired and it's like, no, you're recovered. Like you could go. So a lot of it's also your brain and placebo. Like if your brain tells you you're tired, doesn't mean your body's tired. You know, it's all, everything's a mind game in life. I always say that. If you tell yourself you could do it, you could do it.
I'm a big fan of the Whoop strap as well. I think that it's a game changer. I have the Apple Watch, but
okay, you're wearing both. I used to wear both. I used to have the Apple Watch here, like you, and then I have the Whoop.
I mean, it doesn't tell me the time. I got to know what time it is, right? So I don't want to check my phone all the time.
Okay, fair. That's and that's fair. That's fair. But last question for you. I ask all my guests this question. What's one piece of advice you'd give your 16-year-old self?
Don't ever fucking stop. And I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
It's
okay, you could cry.
Yeah, it hits me hard because I look back at that kid and think of all the times he got shut down, all the times he stopped, all the times that he got set back, and the greatness that was in him. And you know, the mentality of don't ever stop is something that I've only achieved over the past couple of years. The grind is real. It's hard. It's really fucking hard. It's not easy to lift weights. It's not easy to organize a breathwork class. It's not easy to have 3 kids that you got to take to a birthday party to get groceries, only to go back to pick them up, to take them home, to cook, to do the homework. But the grind in that, and the smile on their face, and the smile on your face when you're done working out, and the smile on people's face after that breathwork class, there's no words that can express that. There's no words that can make you feel that sense of gratitude. So I would tell that kid, don't ever fucking stop, bud. Don't ever stop. Keep pushing, keep grinding. And yeah, the future's bright.
I love that. Yeah. That was good. That you knew right on the spot.
Yeah,
I guess because you also do that at work too, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I love this. Your podcast is amazing. Guys, if you don't listen to her fucking podcast and this is the only episode you're watching, sign up for this shit. Watch every episode. She's fucking fire. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. And reach out to Vince. Go to a breathwork class, okay? He's so open and so welcoming. Even if you have questions first, he will answer them. Shoot him a DM on Instagram. He's really pushing his socials. Go show him some love and support. And do your thing. Like, subscribe, share the podcast. I'll put all his links in all the bios of all the captions of everywhere that I'm posting this. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode.